Peace and love, beautiful patrons. So, I needed to give some updates so you guys can stay tapped into what's going on. I've just finished making the whole compilation of From Virginia to Sedona, and now basically where I'm at is I'm in this final week before we leave. And this is my astro calendar, so I can know astrologically what's going on, which really helps. So the day we leave, Mercury goes direct, Hermes goes straight forward, thank the Lords. And then the next day, Jupiter moves into Taurus, which will be a big shift. At the end of the week, when we get to Sedona, it'll be a new moon in Taurus. And then the next day, Mars moves into Leo. And then the next day, the Sun moves into Gemini. So there's going to be a lot of shifts going on when we officially get on the road. These are things that we need to pay, things I just have a list to do. But what I've been doing is getting our basic plan together. And just in case you're interested in like traveling on a budget or traveling mindfully, trying to be smart with your resources like I am, I have a list of where we were going from each place. So from where we live to our first stop, our first location, I used the Gas Buddy app. Well, actually just went online. Gas Buddies has a calculator where you can type in where you're at, where you're going, the make, model, year of your car, and then it'll calculate all of the best places to stop for gas to save you the most money and then tell you how much it'll cost. So our original plan was to go from Virginia to Sedona, but within the time that I made that plan, some more details had come up. My partner recently received some ashes from his grandfather. He wants to spread them at the Grand Canyon. So we've added Grand Canyon to our list. We also are due for oil change. It's like $100 for oil change for our van because it's such a big van. But Dustin has a friend who lives in Friendswood, which I thought is funny. And he offers us like a free oil changes as like a gift as a friend. So we're adding that stop along our way. So it's kind of changed some of the details, but as you work with those, other things will like come up. So now leaving from here to visit his friend to get the oil change, and then from there to the Grand Canyon, or to Sedona now instead of Grand Canyon first. We'll go to Sedona, spend our time there. I have all of the places, the sites, the vortex locations, a couple of food places because we're still balling on a budget. So I used to, when I was living out of my car, I would do treat yourself Fridays. So every Friday I would pick somewhere I wanted to go and get some hot food, and that would be my treat to myself while I was on the road. So we saved 4 places to potentially go to, and then we saved some local grocery stores, which I've really been trying to do that, try and shop local before shopping at a bigger store. So we saved a couple local grocery stores, and then I have a list of all the things that we need to keep an eye on for the van, tires, oil changes, and that kind of led into some of the details as well. So I reached out to my grandfather because he lives in Las Vegas, and I was like, oh, I did want to stop by and visit him. Maybe I'll visit him, when my partner and he's about to go back to Virginia. So I mapped it, and instead of going from the Grand Canyon down to Phoenix for my partner to fly out, we could go from the Grand Canyon to Las Vegas, and it was the exact same price on Gas Buddy to get there. So I reached out to my grandpa. I just talked to him on the phone this morning, and he recommended this place or this thing to get a good deal on tires because we need 2 tires. And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to save money. I don't really have. I'm like, really, I'm telling you guys, like, I have been living pretty routinely with like $0 to my name and just having my benefits through SNAP, the EBT, to pay for food. And then like the money I make goes right into gas. So I was like, if I need any excess for anything, it's really got to be at like a very good value. So I reached out to my grandpa because he's an Uber driver now. He used to be a police officer in Colorado. If you've found me through YouTube, then you might have seen like when I was living out of my car before then, I was living in Colorado with my grandfather. But I reached out to him and he recommended this place he uses called Llantas. He didn't know it was a Spanish word. He was like, it's like Llantas. I go there and find good deals. I was like, that's a Spanish word? I don't know what it means. And I looked it up and it means tire. I was like, dang. And I texted him. I was like, Llantas means tire. He's like, oh, duh. So it's pretty funny. So he recommended that. So we're gonna reach out to the friend that is offering the free oil change, ask him since he's in the car industry and he's in Texas, basically northern Mexico, if he recommends any places for good deals on tires. So we're gonna manifest that we get a really good deal on tires. Someone just wants to hook us up perhaps with 2 tires, or they just got them lying around. We'll see what happens. But that's something that I am planning, and I want to speak on these things so that way, as I continue to kind of put it out there, what I'm asking for, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, understanding that it's not something I'm asking for out of like greed or materialism. It's like, no, it's just to be safe. 2 new tires on the vehicle would probably assist us because the tread is getting low on some of them. Speaking on this and sharing it and then telling you guys what happens, I think would be really helpful in showing you, like, in myself too, like trusting, having trust and faith in the journey and the path, and really showing my partner as well too, because he's still new to this more than I am. I lived out of my car and I was truly blessed because that car made it through some things that no car probably should. Like elevations and things I did to the tires and everything. I did get, my oil change and stuff. I needed to be responsible in that way, but still, like, I was really balling on a budget. And I'm balling on a budget even more now than I was at that point because I just got my tax returns at that time, and I have only been doing landscaping the last, like, basically 2 years. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I have my information for my phone bill to pay off my phone, and then I'm going to be jumping on to Mint Mobile, and they do $20 a month. You get 14 gigabytes of 5G, and I usually don't go over 14. Most of the stuff I'll be doing is recording, and then I'll find like a location that has Wi-Fi, like a Starbucks or something, edit the videos, upload them with the Wi-Fi that's there. So I probably shouldn't use too much data, and that's about everything I'm doing. I'm getting all my ducks in a row in order to continue my benefits for SNAP over the summer. They just needed to see that I was working a certain amount of hours. So I'm getting a note written for that. I have my list for all of the things I want to do as far as content we're going to be sharing while we're in Sedona. I'm going to kind of close this out because I don't want this to be super long, but I have intentions, and I've seen and had visions of like going to these vortex locations and kind of just like, as far as like with patrons go, just kind of like connecting to the land, sitting in some gratitude and some silence, and just kind of connecting to the energy of that space and place. And then if something wants to come out, if it's a light language transmission, if we just feel called to drum, if we feel called to use the crystal bowls, whatever we feel called to use, we'll share that here. And then I imagine too, as we do that and kind of just help unfold those petals that have been closed for some time, then other things will start to come forth. Songs, like actual, like, worded songs as well. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what unfolds. But I do know that I definitely want to be near the waters of Sedona. So I've also had like visions of standing in the water and connecting to the water and singing a song of the water. We'll be doing that as well. We'll just be having fun, and the things that we'll be sharing on YouTube will most likely kind of be some of the things we share on Patreon. There'll be more personal things on Patreon, but I still want to share some of the experience too on YouTube, inspire others who may find us there. And that'll more likely be like, hey, we're hanging out at this vortex today, and it'll just be like a compilation of all these things we do, and then the more personal like shares will go here on Patreon, and then if we have songs and transmissions, we'll share them on Patreon, and then maybe we decide, yeah, we'll share this one to YouTube, and we'll do that. So yeah, I'm still flowing and listening, and it feels good to basically be getting everything together. I have most of my stuff packed. My partner, on the other hand, is gonna have an interesting time. Dustin, I guess I don't have to say my partner anymore. Dustin's gonna have an interesting time trying to figure out what he wants to bring. I'm definitely more of the gypsy than he is, so yeah, I'm having full trust and faith that he is going to understand what it is. I mean, most of us will experience that. If you've ever lived in a car and traveled in a small space, you start to really understand what you use every day and what you don't. And I'm looking forward to having that happen again so I can release even more after being in the van for about 2-3 weeks. I'll be like, what in here have I not touched? Okay, well, it's time to donate it, or it's time to sell it, or, do what I will. Usually I just donate instead of trying to sell it. So yeah, that's what's going on. I just want to give an update. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for following along on the journey. I'm really looking forward to beginning to share our musical creations here and share just in song and sound and frequency and vibration, and allowing the messages that want to come through us out into this realm. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to do so. Feels really good. I'm preparing to go landscape for the day, so it's just kind of like chilling and getting these ducks in a row before I go out into the world and work. So thank you. I shall see you in the next one. Most likely the next share will be some of us on the road. So I will see you then.